Hi, my name is Kenza Gazawi, and I started an online platform where I interview different entrepreneurs and business people just to get their insights on the business world and what they think and their feelings and how they've gone about and their successes and their failures and everything about it. So I'm here to interview to you today. So what's your name and what you do?
Well, firstly, thank you. My name is Carla Dibello. I have been living in Dubai for the last 14 years. I have my own advisory firm, and I'm also a film producer. Produce documentaries and film and getting into TV as well.
Which one? What's your favorite? What you prefer?
I love storytelling. I think there's no better way to tell your story or someone else's story from another perspective. So I think it's so important that, these stories get told, and it's the most creative way to get out to a new audience.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
So, what was the very first project that you tried or thought about, even if it didn't succeed?
Many projects, but if I had to think of one, there's many things I didn't succeed at, and there's many things that I learned from and then did better. So I think it's important that even if I don't call it not succeeding, I think it's just a learning experience, and you have to go through different stepping stones to kind of get and understand what you like and what you don't like, and maybe what works for you and what's not comfortable.
And was there ever a point where you did something and it didn't work and you almost gave up, or a situation?
Every day. I think, for me, I'm really, especially when it comes to producing and doing film or documentaries, and you want others to believe in your story. And maybe it's hard when you pitch it that the response isn't always what you want and what you expect, and you can't understand, and you might blame it either on them or yourself on why they don't see something a certain way. So I think it's important that if you are pitching something or you are trying to get someone to believe in what you're doing and it's not working, maybe you have to shift on how you're presenting it. Yeah.
And as a woman in business, have you ever had any troubles or felt any bias or anything like that?
I would say, I work around a lot of women. I work around a lot of men, maybe more men than women.
Yeah.
I will say that personally, I believe that men have always helped me, which is great, and women as well. But of course, in business, you always get the one or two people that you don't sense the best, and maybe it's just that you guys don't have the right energy together. So in that case, it's fine. And if it's not going to work, if I get into a partnership or a business deal and if I notice that I feel tense around that person, I just have to recalibrate and understand maybe this isn't the best partnership for me, because, if I wake up in the morning and I know I have to go meet this person every day and I don't have a good feeling, then, I have to shift gears and go another
It's so important to build partnerships. If you don't have a good feeling, then you can't continue with it.
And I feel like I spent a lot of my early years doing a lot of things solo and isolated. And I will say, if there's any piece of advice, it's always great to build a strong relationship around you, because you can't do everything on your own, and then you burn out. And when you burn out, it's not fun. So if you can find people that are better than you at something, that's a win-win for everyone.
You can help each other.
Exactly.
And has there ever been a specific situation where you did fail and you didn't know what to do? How did you move from there? Or you didn't succeed the way you thought you would?
Yeah, I've never really looked at it as failure. I've always looked at it as, when you're swimming against a current, if you keep having to force it, you just have to understand from the universe, from your God, whatever you look up to, that it's just something that's not working out for you. And it's a learning lesson.
To go up.
Exactly. And everything is an experience. And now when I look back on things that I think was a failure, or things that, maybe there was a job I was looking to get that didn't happen. And then 5 years later, something with that situation happens, and I'm like, thank God
that I
didn't do that. That was actually
the best thing.
Yeah, it worked out best for me, and because of that, I went on to do this.
To do better things.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, if you had specific advice to give to someone who wanted to do entrepreneurship, business, even as a woman or as a boy, what advice would you give, or what advice do you wish you knew when you were first starting?
Yeah, I would say that anything you're excited about and that something you really want to do, you need to surround yourself with people doing that.
Yeah.
And no matter what you do, you have to get yourself in the door, whether it's interning or just working around someone or just calling someone for the right advice.
Yeah.
And just, be around the right people for what you want to do. And then those opportunities just come to you.
If you have a strong team, I feel like that's a building base.
Yeah, and you have to decide, it's hard being an entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, it's easy to go have a job and work for someone and they tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But when you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to go out and get it, you have to have routine. You have to have, your set goals. You have to plan your own day. You have to, if you're going to plan out your week, every day has to be a specific routine.
Yeah, that's true. I would also rather have be my own, do it, have a routine and do whatever I want than having a boss.
Well, it goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you need that boss at the beginning, to kind of mimic what they're doing and understand and be a sponge.
And just grow from there.
Yeah, and I will say I've always had great bosses. I've always worked growing up with many people, and I think they've helped me become who I am today. And maybe there were many days where I didn't feel like going to work, or didn't feel like listening to what they had to do, or being their subordinate. But
at the end of the day, you just have to suck it up. And so obviously we know that the world is moving so fast, and AI and technology is growing every day. Do you feel AI has any role? Do you think it could threaten or help you in your business?
Yeah, look, I always tell people, I would say even when social media came out and everyone was afraid and people could take your photos and do whatever they want with them, today I think AI needs to be looked at as a tool.
Yeah.
You have to be cautious about what you're using it for. But I think if I was your age now, growing up with AI and
because it's moving so much faster now,
and what you have, I would call it a real, opportunity to have efficiency.
Yeah, because it makes you go so much faster. Obviously, it can do bad stuff, but if you use it only to benefit you, then it can help save so much time and everything.
So much time, money. I mean, it's a real tool.
If you want to do research, before you'd have to spend hours reading, and now you can just do it in 10 seconds.
And I worry a bit about that, because then you become so robotic and you don't use your brain as much to do the work. But if you personally, for me, even when I write an email, I like to get it down myself and how I would say it and write it, rather than just trying to prompt an AI.
Yeah. But also it is bad, because then people can't think for themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're so reliant on AI and how it works, that's why you just have to use it so
I think
consciously.
It's important to try and think for yourself and what you feel. I think no AI can have the intuition that a human has.
Especially for films and movies. I feel like people on movies are so emotional, and I feel AI can't take there's so many jobs that we don't even know will exist, and when I'm getting a job, for example. But I feel movies like actors, like you can't replace that, you know what I mean? Because like it's all like emotions and like personality and like
yeah. And I will say a lot of the industry is a bit worried as far as like writers and you know that goes,
but the actors themselves,
but in my eyes I think it's something that can only help you. And with actors, you'll never be able to, you know, use their likeness on a screen yet, or you'll never be able to capture that human emotion.
And like, has there ever been like a specific like mindset shift that like you've come across that like has changed your way of thinking? Like if you know what I mean, like have you ever like, was there a specific moment where like something happened and like you had a mindset shift and like you realized like
I would say for me, I don't know exactly when it was, but I'm always been a big believer that no matter what, everything happens for a reason. So instead of getting in a victim role or feeling like people are against you or you didn't get this opportunity because this person blocked it, you know, I've always been a big believer in trusting the universe. So I would say I just trust that whatever the situation is, it had to happen. And you move forward and you don't have regrets and you don't dwell on something and you just know. And then later you always realize, you know, whatever you were worried about last year at this time doesn't matter. So why are you going to worry so much about it now? It happened.
And like if in a year from now you won't even remember.
Exactly. Just move forward.
My last question is like, if a student like me, for example, wanted to start a business like in the film industry or in any industry, what specific advice like would you give them like to help them succeed?
I would say, you know, get comfortable and close to what you really want to do and what you enjoy and practice that and figure out the right people to be around to get into that type of industry. I would definitely, you know, practice makes perfect when you're in a job or in a sport or in a school. If you just keep at your routine and practice, you will get good at it and you will figure out what works for you.
Like just practice, like helps everyone succeed.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you. You're so good. Thank you.
Thank you.